The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Hi, this is Brad Marcus, and welcome to another episode of Toiletside Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from my favorite planet, Earth, and began wrestling in 2012. Trained at Maryland Championship Wrestling and trained under Earl Hart and Rich Myers. Worked for such promotions as Maryland Championship Wrestling, Covey Promotions, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, World Extreme Wrestling, CZW, New South, United Wrestling Network, and I could go on. Along the way, she's held the MCW Women's Championship, CP Women's Championship, as well as the MDW Women's Championship. Share the ring with the likes of Nyla Rose, Renee Michelle, Mickie James, Vita Scott, Joey Janela, Jessica Carr, Mandy Leon, and I could go on. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who refutes the belief that dolphins are actually trying to overthrow human beings. I give you Reina Renegada, Amber Rodriguez. Hey, Amber, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Okay, first $1 million question. That was you in all those highlights?
Yeah, man, I miss my short hair.
Yeah, because see, that threw me. And then I realized, oh, that kind of thing could happen over time. But that's like my big fear that I'm going to screw that up and there's going to be a highlight of somebody else in there. But we're all good. And I was actually worried about that all day. And I kept verifying, trying to look at pictures and stuff. All right, we're past that part. Good. Question right off the bat. Do you design your ring gear?
Yes, I do. So I come up with a concept. I don't I used to draw. I don't draw anymore. I just don't have time. But my very, very first set I drew. But lately I just come up with concepts. And shout out to Seems Legit Sewing, Cal Rose, the wife of the lovely Nyla Rose. She makes my gear. Yeah.
Oh, and, that's cool.
And yeah, so I really just send her a concept hey, I'm thinking of doing this and what these colors are. I send her I think my purple set, the trans flag set, the pink, white, and blue, and the Puerto Rican flag set. Those are all from the same concept. I don't know if you noticed the pattern is the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jennifer Lopez did this concert. I think it was for iHeartRadio.
Okay.
And she had a similar bodysuit, and I just adored it because when I came back to wrestling, after having a baby, the body changes. Yeah. And so I decided I wanted to wear a bodysuit just to feel a little bit more comfortable. And so, I saw that concert and I was like, man, I want something like that. That's the perfect bodysuit. So I took a screenshot, sent it to Kel, and, told him my idea. And then as far as the half coat, that I actually got the idea from, I think I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race or something.
Okay.
Somebody had something similar to that, but I wanted half. I was I like the idea of a half.
Just half of it.
So yeah, I just send random.
Is that a fun part of being a professional wrestler? Being able to like translate these ideas into like your clothing?
Oh man, it's the best. Like, and I get ideas from all types of stuff.
Do you carry a little notebook with you?
I do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I use the notepad in my phone, and I have so many random screenshots. But it's really like that person's outfit or like a piece of something from some show I watched. A lot of my inspiration also comes from the show Once Upon a Time. Regina, she played the evil queen.
Okay.
And I absolutely adore her wardrobe. So yeah, I pull ideas from all over the place.
So like when you first, or you specifically, and then maybe just in general, did you have gear made specifically for you for your first match, or were you just using just stuff that you could just buy straight?
So for my very first match, that was made by my OG trainer, Rich Myers, or Ramblin' Rich, from the Holy Rollers back in MCW.
Yep.
So yeah, he made that gear for me. I sketched it, and he just brought my vision to life. My first 2 sets were from him, actually. And then I started to learn how to sew on my own. So I dabbled a little bit in sewing and tried out some stuff, and some stuff didn't work. I had a couple wardrobe malfunctions.
Only one leg could go through.
Oh man. And so yeah, just a little bit of everything, man. There's a couple pieces I made on my own that still held up to this day, that I don't wear anymore. I just kind of keep for like the sentimental value, I guess.
Yeah, like the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
You know, or the National like Library, they keep one copy of everything. How many outfits do you have?
Oh, you know what? I should really keep track of that.
Are they all in the same place? Like, are they hung up? Like, okay.
And right now I'm moving. Me and my husband just got a house. So right now they're packed away in a box. But,
God. Oh, so you're living amongst boxes right now? And packing tape and stuff?
Yeah, but normally, or once I get settled, they'll be back in a closet, and it's kind of cool. It's like my walk-in closet, and I can just kind of pick through whatever gear to put in my bag.
Yeah, and like you can see like the time periods, you know, and like how like your wardrobe evolved. Okay, I'm going to ask you another random question, and again, I apologize if these are kind of disjointed, but we'll go in a normal way. Okay, so the first time you won the women's championship, how long in the first 24 hours did you spend in front of a mirror with the belt, seeing how it looks on you?
Which belt do you mean? The one I currently have?
No,
or like
the first time was the Maryland Championship Wrestling. Was that your first one? Okay, that time.
It was my second. My first one was the Pro Wrestling Syndicate Bombshells title.
Okay.
Which I never even got to like take. It was one of those situations where the belt is kept at the promotion.
Okay.
So yeah, I took pictures like after the match.
And that was it?
Yeah, and that was it. But the MCW belt I was allowed to take with me, and it was great because I got to like do interviews outside of the company and do like charity events, you know, which was really cool. And I spoke to a lot of the inner city girls in Baltimore, and you know, just giving like that whole women's empowerment speech and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it was nice to have.
And just having that gives you instant credibility, I imagine.
Yeah,
I should walk around with a belt.
Yeah, it adds more to it.
Yeah, so I think I would get more respect if I wore one even around the house than I do right now. So I have to think about that. Do you like see how you look in the mirror with it at all?
I don't. Right now, I hold the Elevate Pro Women's Championship and Big Ramp Enterprises Championship, and it sits in my car.
Oh, really? Do you have to put a deposit down?
No.
Are there any rules as to like it needs to be in a, you know, in its bag, or I imagine they're not happy that it's in your car?
Well, I do that so I don't lose it.
Okay. Where's your car parked right now, by the way?
Right outside.
Where are you, by the way?
In Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, got it. I knew it was Earth, so I'm pretty close. So did you grow up there?
No. Oh God, no.
Where'd you grow up?
Originally, I'm from the DMV area.
Okay.
I shuffled around a lot from Maryland, Virginia, DC, even stayed in New York for a little while. So I've been all over the place, all over the East Coast rather. So
Where
when I got
did you go to high
stationed here,
school?
I went to 4 different high schools. We
You
moved a
were
lot.
a problem child?
Yeah, no, we moved a lot.
Okay. You're not. You guys weren't on like the run, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if we were, I wouldn't say it, but
Yeah. Okay. See, you are much smarter than me. Everyone else is right. Okay. Go on. I'm sorry. So you went to 4 different high schools.
yeah, I went to Wakefield High, Watkins Mill High. No, 3 different high schools: Wakefield High, Watkins Mill High, and Leonardtown High.
And how many schools had you gone to prior to that?
2 different middle schools and I think 6 different elementary schools.
Okay.
So, yeah.
First of all, we could do now a whole other show on just this. I have some questions. Did you have siblings?
Yes.
And were they around your age?
No. Me and my brother are 9 years apart. My brother also wrestles.
Yeah.
Chuck Lennox.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have questions about him too later on. We'll get to. So there was so were you lonely?
Yeah. I had a really hard time making friends, and the friends that I did make, I still had weird like separation anxiety when I was a kid.
Okay.
When I got to like middle and high school, I had a lot of trust issues. I had issues opening up to people because like I'm just gonna move anyway, you know.
Yeah.
But, I have 3 really close friends from middle and high school, from 8th and 9th grade, that still keep in touch with me. That we still keep in touch to this day.
And you guys only knew each other for 2 years. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing that hung on. You don't hear that often.
Yeah, even throughout the rest of the moves and everything, like we still kept in touch and kept seeing each other. So it's great. You do get some gems.
Yeah, and you only need a few. You know, you need 1, 2, maybe 3 good friends, and you're good. Were your parents aware that you were lonely and like the moving was hard on you?
Yeah, that's a tricky situation. With my dad, he knew and he could tell, but it was just one of those weird things, like, because my mom kept changing jobs and stuff, so it was one of those weird things where, like, it was nothing that anybody could do. You just had to kind of deal with it. Because I didn't grow up in a 2-parent household. I shuffled between my mom and my dad.
Did they have conflicting ways of raising you? Mm-hmm. Okay, I had the same experience. All right, go on. I'm sorry.
No, it's a lot. I mean, my mom was, I don't want to get too much in detail, but it was just not a good environment being with her. So
okay. So as a child, were you say you were like introverted because of?
Yeah, just problems at school, problems at home. You know, it got to a point where like being with my dad was like an escape. You know, so.
Yeah, I remember like, oh, I'm so happy I can go sleep at my dad's tonight. You know, like I can be there for the weekend and just relax.
Yeah.
So would you say, were you athletic at all? Or like, were you into like the arts?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I danced. And was it middle school? One of my middle schools, majorette dance.
Okay.
One of my middle schools, and later on, one of my high schools, I also picked it back up.
Okay.
So I was a little athletic. I also played a little bit of soccer. But I was more into wrestling. Like I've always been into wrestling, like pro wrestling.
When did that happen?
So when I was 15, that's when my brother found Gilberg's Pro Wrestling Academy, and because we were always into it, we always loved it. Yeah. And then just being internet trolls, like randomly found it. We were like, oh man, that's like an hour away, or I think it was actually like, it was an hour away. And
had you ever thought about doing that for a career at that point?
I hadn't, because I mean, I was 15, like I was a kid.
Yeah.
Getting out of high school, like I don't know.
For sure.
And, so yeah, when he found that, I was like, oh man, like I always loved it. Like now I can actually do it. Like, so, and I didn't really have any expectations going into it.
Did your brother? How old were you when he started wrestling?
Oh man, calling them old now. We're 10 years apart.
Okay.
I was 15. So, or I'm sorry, 9 years apart. So it was 24, probably.
Okay. This is it's going to come out as stupid. I'm warning you. Did your brother love you? And I mean it like, did he keep an eye on you? You know, was he a good big brother?
Of course, yeah. Chuck, I still talk to him to this day. Like I love that guy. Like he's really like my brother. Because me and so I have another brother.
Okay.
That also wrestled at the time. Like it was the three of us that started actually. Okay. But the thing is, we don't really talk anymore. We kind of become estranged, and that's a whole nother situation.
Okay. Another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. But I'm an open book. I don't mind talking about it. But anyway, so we don't really talk anymore. But me and Chuck, you know, we've always been close. And Chuck grew up with us. Okay. So yeah, he's not like my blood brother, but he's my brother. You know. Yeah,
totally. You know, it's funny because my son actually today said to me, so like, what's the difference between Poppy and Pops? My stepdad, and my dad. And I said the thing where like one of them, you know, made me and one raised me, you know, so I consider my stepdad my dad as well. Okay, getting back, when so after high school, did you continue on with education or did you start working or decide you were going to get into training?
So I never stopped training. In fact, when I graduated high school is when I started taking bookings.
Okay. Oh, wow. So yeah. How old were you when you started training? Were you
Well, I started training at 15. Okay. And I started taking bookings at like 17, 18.
Oh, wow. And that's what's the youngest that you can wrestle at?
It depends on the state. Okay. If the state has licensing requirements, then more than likely 18 or maybe 17 with like a worker's permit. Like it's so many ins and outs with that kind of thing. But for me, I was able to wrestle at 17 in like places like West Virginia or like certain parts of Pennsylvania. And
how were you getting to these places when you were at that age? Who's
just like my brothers or, you know, just another worker that, you know, we all trusted.
Was that exciting for like a teenager to be like on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
And what about your dad? Was he supportive of that? Like his little girl?
My dad, he was it's not that he wasn't supportive, he was just worried. Which,
yeah, sure.
At the time, I was like, you know, but now looking back on it, especially now that I'm a parent myself, like I totally get why he was worried. Like, you know, for me, I'd be scared. Like, you know, if my my 15-year-old kid wanted to go jump off of something on purpose, like, yeah,
seriously, like every day risking her life.
Yeah, and then, you know, oh, you want to go on the road and go like 1,000 miles away, or like, you know, like, yeah, I'd be freaked out. So I get it now. But yeah, it's not that he wasn't supportive. He was more so just worried.
Do you remember the night before your first day of training? Like, were you able to sleep? Were you nervous, excited?
I don't, because I don't. And this is all like, man, this is years ago, but I want to say it was more of a spur of the moment thing. I want to say it was more so like one day I decided I wanted to go like with my brothers, like in a spur of the moment. And then we all went. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's also foggy now. It's crazy.
Sure. Especially when you were that young, there's so much stuff going on in a teenager's mind. Well, not much in mine, but like in typical teenager. Were you physically ready?
I mean, I think I picked everything up just fine. Of course there's going to be things that, you know, doesn't really register, or you just like certain moves I just never really got the hang of, so I just don't do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
You know, so just things like that. But as far as the basics go, I think I did pretty fine, especially for learning all this stuff for the first time. And you know, wrestling is something where it's weird. It's not like your average sport or like riding a bike or something like that. Like, you never get used to it. Your body never gets used to the falls or the holds or the moves. Like, your body just never gets used to it. In fact, every match is like a mini car accident, you know. So, you know, it's not like dancing where after, you know, you've done this routine, you know, several times, it's, you know, it like the back of your hand, and it, you know, your joints aren't so sore anymore, and you know, like the wrestling isn't like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, all the elements are constantly changing. Did so like, I know there's like you know, the physical aspect of training. Is there like a mental part of it?
Oh yeah,
that you have to get used to. What kind of are those kind of things?
And that's not even just with training. That's wrestling as a whole.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's a lot on your mental health. You know, I left for 4 years for big mental health reasons.
Oh, okay.
Just and then in training in particular, especially when you first start, it's very nerve-wracking because it's like, am I good enough? Am I doing this right? Like, oh, they praised this student, and like, man, maybe I'm not getting it. Like, you know what I mean?
Internalizing things.
Yeah. And it's I don't know, and especially for me, because I never really had that feeling with anything else that I did, even with dance. Like, I never really saw myself being like a dancer, you know what I mean? So like with this, I went into it with a different kind of mentality. Like, man, like I really want this to happen, like, you know? And so it, in a way, it kind of made me insecure, you know, because I overthought a lot of things.
Is it hard to like become friends with a lot of your competition?
I don't look at anybody as competition.
Okay, so there's no jealousy as far as like
with me. I can't speak for anyone else.
Oh, okay.
With me personally, I don't look at anyone as competition, and I don't mean that in a like cocky way or anything. I mean that as far as like, these are my sisters and my brothers. Like, you know, when you're in a ring with somebody, like, you're trusting them basically with your life, you know, in a sense. Like, people are in wheelchairs for doing what we do. People have died. Like, so it's a lot. So the last thing I want to do is look at somebody that I'm trusting so much, look at them like something I have to compete with. Like, no, if anything, we're working together to put on a great performance and give these fans like their money's worth for these tickets, like, and make sure that they want to come back. Like, so we're working together to make this happen, not against each other.
So if like you do well, your opponents do it well.
Exactly.
You know, I've never asked this. How many moves, like in your move set, does a wrestler having their first match typically have? Is it
very first match?
Yeah.
It depends on how long you get. Like, for example, this girl that I mentor, she had her first match with me. We had 8 minutes. So, which is a good amount. It's a great amount of time, especially for your first match. So it really just depends on the story that's being told, if there is one, you know, if the plan is for you to just go out there and make the other person look good, which you always want to make the other person look good. But, you know, if the attention is more on them for a specific reason, you know, like you see like squash matches a lot. Like if someone's getting beat up by Nyla Rose for 3 minutes straight, like they're not going to get a lot of moves in, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it just depends on what's going on with the match. But I'd say just a basic match. Out of the moveset you can get a good amount of stuff in.
How often do you add, new stuff?
Oh, I try to at least so for me, it's not like a set schedule or anything.
Sure.
Just after watching my matches, I'm like, man, I do this like way too much. Like, let me switch it up. Or it may not be like a completely new move. It may be even if I just get into something a different kind of way, or just put some different kind of twist on it. Just or do or replace one part of the sequence with something else, if that makes sense. But yeah, it really comes from just watching my matches, and I'm always like trying to get better from having other people watch my matches. And they may say, oh, why don't you start doing this? You know what I mean? So it'll just kind of come sporadically.
Can you see some show and some match and like, oh, I really like that move, and use it yourself? Or do you have to like kind of, make it unique to you?
Well, I do a pedigree now, so.
Yeah. I broke my teeth getting one of those once.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, it was better than what happened when I got a DDT. But and I'm not a wrestler at all. I was just an abused by my brother child.
Oh, no.
Not in a bad way. He toughened me up.
Yeah.
Okay, so when do you meet Mickie James? When does she come into your life?
2015.
In Maryland?
Yeah, in Maryland. We had a couple tours together with MCW, and it was an honor. That was like the one of the best parts of my career.
Was she Mickie James then? She wasn't like Alexis Lurie, I think she was.
No, she was still Mickie James.
She was still Mickie James. Okay. The years are all foggy to me. And so, obviously she made an impact on you, like in the ring. But like, what about outside the ring? Like, is a veteran? Like, do they, put some knowledge into you?
Oh,
how to protect yourself?
Like just soaking all that up. In ring. She like. I became such a better performer after working with her, because she pushed me like in a good way. Pushed me out of my comfort zone with a lot of stuff, introduced me to a lot of new things, a lot of new ways that you can even have a match, like just as far as like the flow of it goes, just character work. She helped me out so much. I would have like an idea that I would pitch to her, bring to her attention, and she would take like this little idea and make it so much bigger. Like in a way you hadn't thought of. Yeah, and just little things like that, and it was great. And as far as like outside the ring, and it's funny how things kind of line up, because during that time I was I think I was like 19 or 20. Yeah, let's go with that. So
sounds good.
So yeah, and never even thought about having a family, let alone having a kid. Like I hated kids. No,
I still do. I have them. I still can't stand them.
Yeah, like now I can everybody else's. But yeah,
totally.
With her having been a mother, she had came back to wrestling after having her son, and it was amazing to see her even do that alone. Just say like, hey, like, because for so long the mindset with women working or performing or just in general was like, oh, when you have a baby it's like your life is over. Like, is it? So to see her go no, and to continue to excel at what she does, like it was very inspiring. Like at the time I thought it was cool, but now that I'm a mom myself and I ended up coming back, like it just means a lot more to me on a different level.
It's weird that people say that about having a child in wrestling, like the giving birth, that part of having a child, but like they don't and coming back, but like if a guy that tears up his knee, no one says that to him, oh, you're never going to be able to come back. It's always like, oh yeah, you'll be able to come back from that, and you're not even carrying anything that you really need. But we're going to get to parenthood in just shortly. When did you leave wrestling? When did you leave wrestling? Was that after 2015?
Yeah, November 2015.
Okay. Is there reasons you can discuss?
Yeah. So, or at least I thought I was leaving wrestling.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so did you think you were leaving for good?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear this.
That was it.
Oh, really? So young.
Yeah. I am a survivor of sexual assault.
Okay.
And that was a huge driving force in my decision to leave.
Okay. Good for you.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I was just done. But
it just turned you off from the whole business.
Yeah. I blamed wrestling as a whole for what happened. I blamed the culture at the time. That's the thing, because I think at one point I said, oh, cancel culture exists everywhere but wrestling. But the truth is, it does exist in wrestling. There's cancel culture. They just cancel the wrong people.
Sure.
They cancel the ones that speak out. And, of course, it's like way before speaking out movement and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just a different time. There were no victim advocates. There was no one to really, like, it's like if you had spoke up about something like that, you're starting drama, or you're a ring rat, or like, it was just so toxic. So in my mind, it's like, well, maybe it's better that I just leave, because it wasn't the first time it happened. And so that was the thing. It happened the first time, and I'm like, I kind of brushed it off, like, as unhealthy as that is.
Yeah, it can happen anywhere.
Yeah, and then it happened again, and I'm like, okay, this is it for me. And it sucked, because I was getting a lot of traction. I was at a really good peak in my career, especially the whole story with Mickie and the story I had with Lita and all this stuff. So everything was lining up really good, and then I'm just like, peace out, And
did you talk to anyone prior to making the decision?
Yeah, I talked to a few people, and everyone pretty much said the same thing. Oh, you'll be back. Oh, you'll regret it. Like, Did
anyone address like the reason that you were?
So that they didn't know. I didn't really tell.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure if they knew the full story, you know what I mean?
Was that hard keeping it to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't that like a lot to keep on your shoulders? Like,
because the ones that I did tell didn't believe me. And
that's like an after school special, where like you tell these people that you trust and they don't believe you.
Yeah.
They're not in your life anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even want to go any further. But,
no. Yeah. Absolutely. I totally understand.
Unfortunately, like, one being my own brother, so that's the whole thing.
So that makes now I understand what you said earlier. Then, oh gosh. All right. Let's move on.
This is a deep interview.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I've been to therapy in my life, so. So when do you start getting the bug again?
So I was stationed not really stationed. I was more so in deployment.
Did you know when you left wrestling that's what you were going to do?
Come back?
No. Did you join
the military?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So that was another reason, and that was kind of like my cover up reason. Like, I just signed my contract with the military. I'm gonna. Yeah, no one can fight that. When there was deeper issues there, But yeah, so joined the military really to find myself. And I did. And I also found a husband and a kid. So there's that.
Oh, well, see, because that's pretty extreme. You could have gone to like culinary school, as your cover story.
Probably could have. But anyway, so to answer your question, in 2019, I was stationed in California on a short-term deployment, whatever you want to call it. And it was nearby Big Time Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just such a random coincidence. And I wanted to work out off base.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw that and I'm like, huh.
Did people know you were a pro wrestler?
No.
Okay.
So I had got out of one of the classes I was doing on base, and then reached out to somebody and made it happen, and went and trained with a guy named Ricardo that had wrestled in Mexico for the last 20 years, and that guy just dusted me off and brought me back to life. Like, I had trained with him a few times before I finally ended my deployment, and then ended up getting stationed in Mobile, Alabama. And I was like, man, like, what if I start doing shows again? You know? And so that's when I found Elevate Pro out in New Orleans, and they took a chance on me. Because it's a lot to ask somebody. It's a big risk, you know, putting somebody on that hadn't wrestled in like 4 years. Like, that's a lot.
Do they ask you, like, well, why haven't you been wrestling? And then you just say, I was, you know, in the service?
They particularly, I don't think they did. Again, this is just off the top of my head. I don't think they did. I think it was more of a, oh, great, she's back, you know?
Yeah.
Come back all the time. Or people leaving come back all the time. So I think they just took it more as that. I don't remember. I don't think they did ask me why I was
when you did come back, were you married at this point?
Yes.
You didn't have a kid at that point?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I had my baby in 2017.
Oh,
so
okay.
That was another driving force in my decision to come back, because, you know, I just sat and thought about it, like, especially having a little girl, you know, I'm like, I want her to see what I went through. And like I said, I'm an open book. I'm very transparent at this point in life. And, you know, I pray that if my story can inspire at least one person, like, then it'll all, you know.
Especially if that one person's your daughter.
Exactly. And, you know, I just want her to see, like, hey, I've been through this and it was horrible, but I didn't let it define me. I didn't let it consume me. You know, I came back from it. Your
husband. You didn't tell anyone when you were in the military. You didn't tell anyone you had been a pro wrestler.
Not right away. Like, some people I'd open up to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you? How long before you told your one soon to be husband?
I think I told him like within the first few weeks of meeting him. Like, so it wasn't like a secret. It just wasn't something I flaunted around or anything, you know? But yeah, one day it just kind of came up in conversation, and started showing him videos and stuff. He's like, man, that's cool. And, you know, whatever.
Was he at your first match back?
Yes.
And then the question I have to ask is, has your daughter seen you wrestle in person yet?
Yeah, she has a couple times, and she's going to again this coming Saturday. So
does she understand it?
She does, but she doesn't like it. Like, she's like so girly. Like, she's not really into the physicality of it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's starting to get more into WWE. Like, you know, when we'll watch it together and stuff.
Is it hard for you to watch as a fan?
No, I love the product. I love the sport. I watch WWE.
You can suspend like what you're doing, like your life, and just like watch like the show without like analyzing anything.
Oh yeah, no, I can totally watch it as a fan. I've even been binge watching Total Bellas for some reason.
Oh God, do you have the Peacock network?
I do.
All right. Well, I'm not going to get into it. I hate the Peacock network.
Why?
Okay, this is why. I have two main reasons. One, I don't think that I was like, why would the WWE network put out like their new network when not all the features are there? Like, you can't go to like say WrestleMania 3 and skip down like to match 6 and match 9. Yeah. So that frustrates me. Then
they're still working this stuff out.
Yeah, but I'm like, why don't they just wait? Everything was fine, like on the WWE network. But then like my other reason, and this is stupid, but I can't get it out of my head. I was like, when I first signed on, like the big movie that they kept promoting was Bring It On, the cheerleading movie.
Yeah,
like, that's the biggest movie they have, and that's what they're promoting. Like, it's I know, but like, but when like HBO is doing Godzilla versus Kong or you know Black Widow somewhere. Oh,
well, Peacock it's a little weird because it reminds me a lot of Tubi.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Tubi. I feel like with the free networks, it's more of the nostalgic stuff.
Yeah, there is some good old stuff on there. But I haven't been alone enough to be able to like actually enjoy it. Is it hard now being able to be a mom and a wife and and have this job? And
yeah, I mean, I'm a wife, a mom. I wrestle in the service, and I own a skincare line.
Oh wow!
I'm an esthetician. So
you've been to like 50 schools.
Yeah, I don't sleep often.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how do you have all this? How do you fit everything in?
I just take it one day at a time, really. I have a plan. I just bought a planner like last week.
Nice.
I write things down and I keep track of everything, and I managed to make sure I get that time with my baby in. But everything I do, it's for her.
Okay. Do you ever feel do you ever miss her?
Oh, all the time. When I first started wrestling again and I got back on the road, I would cry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you feel guilty?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did. But
and then who would tell you you're crazy? Keep doing that. Your husband?
No. He understood where I was coming from, but it's just that mutual understanding that, hey, I will get signed one day soon, speaking into existence. But and this is all ultimately for her, to have a life of abundance, to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
And doing well will actually create time, that you can share with your daughter. I am going to give you 2 easy questions, to as we get towards the end. Do you ever get to go on vacation? And I'm saying a vacation where you're not working.
Yeah, actually, my favorite thing is it'll be a weekend where I'm not wrestling, I'm not on the road for anything, I don't have anything going on, and my husband will get a babysitter, and I think this was last week that this happened. We just took a spur of the moment trip to New Orleans. Shout out to my manager, Big Ramp. I love them. And just spur of the moment trip to New Orleans. It was nice. So those are the best vacations, the ones that you don't necessarily plan for months in advance or anything like that. And it also gives us time to really connect and get just get back on the same page.
Did you go without your daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
New Orleans is not a place for a kid.
Yeah. After my second child, I realized how much I hated children, and I learned how selfish I was as well. So, they're a blessing in that sense. Last wrestling-related question. Do you have IWTV?
I did. I just ended my subscription because I have way too many subscriptions. But, if there's, a big event going on that I want to watch, or something that I did that I want to watch back and it's, not on YouTube, then I'll, put my subscription back in. Sure.
And then cancel it right away?
Yeah, I'm one of those.
I find it very overwhelming. There's so much, and now everything's episodic, So it's so hard to keep up on things. Okay, so that's your last wrestling related question. Before I let you go, can I ask you 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions? Okay. And I also have to say, generally, I'll ask my wife, try and clear these with my wife to make sure they're not weird or creepy or anything. I didn't get a chance to do this beforehand, so I apologize.
Okay.
So you've garnered attention in wrestling and in the military. Would you run for office next?
No.
Never. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because you check all the. I mean, if you were an NFL quarterback too, I'd say you could be a senator. Have you ever been a Sith Lord and fought someone whose name rhymed with Puke Pie Walker?
Wait, what?
Have you ever been a Sith Lord and have one of those light up?
Oh God, I hate Star Wars.
Okay, so this will lead into my next question. That I'm glad you said that. For $426,000, would you change Amber to Darth for the rest of your life?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm going to throw.
I hate it that much.
426,000. I'm just reminding you of the number. Do Do you believe that the Earth is not flat or round, but triangle?
Who came up with that? No.
I don't know. I'm no scientist. Okay, you're doing great. Your last question. Is there any circumstance where you would adopt me?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry, my mom still would have to put me up for adoption, but you know, I'm looking to get out. Anyways, no, and I could babysit. I'm really good with children, but we can talk about that some other time. Amber, where are you going to be wrestling next?
So next week or this week? Yeah, this week.
You gotta get your planner.
Yeah.
That question.
Yeah, I also have a publicist and a social media manager, so I have a lot of people that know my schedule more than I do.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, to answer your question, Thursday I'm leaving for Houston. Friday is RWR Renegade Wrestling Revolution out in Houston, and then the next night, Saturday, I will be in Foley, Alabama for Revolt Pro Wrestling.
Will you be driving back and forth to Houston, or did you fly?
Unfortunately, I will be driving
alone.
No, I will have my mentee with me, Miss Amber.
Oh, okay. And since that's your mentee, who's driving?
Ooh, you're right. It should make her drive. She needs to pay her dues.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't trust anyone in my Cadillac. That's.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, of course. All right. I really appreciate you coming on a Sunday. You know, God's Day. So thank you. I would love to have you on again. I will keep an eye and watch your stuff on YouTube and IWTV. Oh, I just thought of something. Is Championship Wrestling from Memphis related to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood?
Yes, they are all one.
Okay, yeah.
Family.
Yeah, I mean, the logos all look the same, but I had to ask just in case.
Yeah.
All right, Amber, you take care and stay healthy and enjoy your little girl, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Take care.